What is going on, y'all, and welcome back to NOT SnowRunner. This is, in fact, and as I'm sure a lot of you guys may be able to recognize straight up from this first shot of gameplay, this is Mudrunner, more known as Spin Tires Mudrunner, although they did go away from the Spin Tires Mudrunner nameplate about halfway through the game's release cycle, give or take. Now, I'm not going to go into why that happened, but what I want to talk about in this video is how there is still a alive and well modding community around Mudrunner, and not only that, but I want to talk about the lessons that can be taken from Mudrunner as a game applied to whatever the next game in the Runner franchise is after SnowRunner, and really what we as a community can draw from this game in hopes that that's something that we see, or that things that we loved about this game are things that we see in the next installment in the Runner franchise. So without any further ado, let's go and fire up one of these trucks and get out on the trail, and then we'll be able to talk about it. I love that sound. I love the way these trucks sound. They sound so good. Now, this truck right here is a little bit more of a hauling rig, so I might just set it down there, stop the engine, and we'll swap over to this guy. Now, this truck, beast of a trail rig, by the way. Awesome job to the creator of this truck. But let's fire this thing up and continue on with our conversation about not only what this game is, but where this game is going and where this series is going. Now, there are a lot of elements of Mudrunner that were brought over to SnowRunner, but not all of them, because as you can see, Mudrunner, being a much older game, didn't have anywhere near the graphical capability of SnowRunner. And that's, I mean, SnowRunner is just going to have better graphics. That's one of the things that you can expect from a game being newer, is that the graphics are going to be better, plus it's going to be able to take advantage of the newer consoles to be able to run at higher, well, I say higher frame rates. Frame rates is a little bit debatable, but in terms of just graphical fidelity and the sheer quality of the textures, SnowRunner is much farther ahead. Now, moving back into Mudrunner, though, I do believe that the physics of Mudrunner really do stand above the physics in SnowRunner. Not by a huge amount, but at the same time, you can definitely tell when you come back and play this game that some of the physics changes that they made from Mudrunner to SnowRunner, I'm not sure I would have made. And if you have anything that you would really like to weigh in on about that in the comment section down below, make sure you let me know, because I really want to start an in-depth conversation about not only the differences between both games, but how the communities around them have continued to shape the mods that they make. Because I find that in SnowRunner versus Mudrunner, because as someone that's been playing the games in this franchise ever since the Spin Tires tech demo, I've noticed that over time, like in Mudrunner, there was a lot more of a focus on, hey, I love this game because we could do everything. We have hauling, we have mudding, we have trail riding, we have rock crawling, and most people kind of, you know, would partake in a little bit of all of it here and there. Whereas I feel like in SnowRunner, a lot of the different types of modding are a lot more almost compartmentalized, if you will. Like, and a lot of people seem to have, at least in SnowRunner, there seems to be a little bit more of an attitude of, no, this game is supposed to be just hauling, or just, you know, just this, or you know, you're only supposed to have this kind of truck in this game, or this kind of truck in this game. Whereas I think, you know, the vibe in Mudrunner has always been a lot more along the lines of, hey, this game is fun, and it allows us to have fun with trucks, and now it's time to send it. And I think that that's what made this game so great, was the sheer focus that the community had on just literally having a great time with trucks. I think that really was one of the biggest driving factors in, again, building such a sprawling community around this game. And there are still, to this day, mods that are getting released for this game, like original mods that are getting released for this game. I think when I went through the Steam Workshop, I think it was like a patrol that got released for this game, like last month? Which is crazy to me that this game still has that much community support behind it, despite its age, despite the fact that SnowRunner has, you know, better graphics and, you know, console modding and arguably arguably more mod support, but that, you know, that's definitely a back and forth. And because, you know, you gotta remember, back in the mudrunner days, mods on console were not even a thing. They weren't even I mean, well, I say they weren't even a thought. They were kind of a thought, but they were a thought that was quickly dismissed by most people in the community, because most people in the community were like, nah, they're never gonna do that. That's, you know, that's ridiculous, that's not gonna happen. And I remember hearing murmurings and rumors, you know, way back in the day about, you know, either mudrunner potentially considering them late in the development cycle, or them coming to the next runner's game, which at the time we did not know was gonna be called mudrunner. I mean, at the time, we in the community thought it was going to be called mudrunner 2. Remember, before SnowRunner came out, the working title was mudrunner 2. So, back in the days when it was considered mudrunner 2, rumors of console modding started to float around. And I remember making a couple of videos about it, and so many people were like, you know, that is just straight up clickbait, that's never going to happen, that's just, you know, you're dreaming if you think console mods are ever going to be a reality. But, I mean, here, to this day, I mean, we actually have a gigantic library of mods on console for SnowRunner. Now, with the newest update, they kind of messed that up a little bit because they made it so that you needed separate game files for, you know, different generations of consoles, which required so many mods to need to get reapproved, which, again, that annoyed a lot of the fan base. And I completely understand why, because if a truck that you used on the daily all of a sudden disappeared, you know, I can understand how you would be confused. I can understand how you would be annoyed. I would be annoyed too. But I think, you know, when you think back to mudrunner, it was a lot simpler in some ways because everything was centralized to the Steam Workshop. But at the same time, there was a large portion of the player base on systems like Xbox and PlayStation that just did not have access to mods at all and was pretty much entirely restricted to using only vanilla trucks. And after a while, as we all know, using only the vanilla trucks can get quite old. Now, again, that's not to say that I don't love the vanilla trucks from the mudrunner days. I did a full, like, mudrunner American Wilds vanilla game playthrough, and I loved doing it, and a lot of you guys way back in the day loved watching it. And so, that's not to say that I don't enjoy playing these games in that sort of vanilla state. But, at the same time, whenever you want to just, you know, you want to drive a truck that you enjoy and you want to just kick back with some friends, hit some trails, hit some mud bogs, or even do some RP scenarios, bro, these mod trucks have all, like, are absolutely where it's at, and they always have been where it's at, I think, in terms of really building that community. Now, I, for one, am really hoping that the next entry in the Runner series, whatever it ends up being called, I really hope that whatever that next entry is, really allows us to return to the physics of, well, I shouldn't say just the physics of mudrunner, but a lot of the elements of what made mudrunner so incredibly fun to play, and a lot of also the elements of what made the community around mudrunner just so incredibly down for anything. They were like, you know, it's like, oh, you want to go mudding? We can do that. You want to go trail riding? We can do that. By the way, you want to do some towing? You want to do some heavy hauling? Oh yeah, we can do that too. We're down for that too. And I think, you know, whereas, like I said before, there are certain types of gameplay in SnowRunner where I think a lot of people are like, no, this game is just meant to be this, or no, this game is just meant to be this. And I'm like, this game is meant to just be fun, and this game is meant to be enjoyed, and this game is meant to allow us to have fun with trucks. And I think at the end of the day, that's what these games really boil down to, is being fun with trucks, fun with off-road vehicles. Not just trucks, but like trucks, Jeeps, Toyotas, whatever you want. Massive 8x8s, you know, or even crazy, wacky vehicles that you probably don't even, you know, you've never heard of before, but they're in the game. And I think that, again, we really need to look back at this game and draw a lot of inspiration from it as a community in terms of what we want out of the next game in the Runner series. But that's going to do it for this video, guys, and if you have any suggestions, thoughts, feelings, or opinions, leave them in the comment section down below, and if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button and turn those notifications on, and I will see you guys next time. Talk to you all later. Before the video ends, though, I do want to touch briefly on what I consider to be a extensive mod library, because when I go back and play mudrunner again and I look at all of the mods that are in here, it really does blow my mind. So right here, we're seeing, you know, some vanilla trucks. We're seeing some, you know, a lot of like American Wilds DLC trucks. But as you well, I said slow down, scroll down, not slow down, scroll down. As you scroll down and then you get past the DLC stuff, you start to realize how ridiculous. There's the old monstrosity. There's the OG monstrosity. But as you scroll through these, you realize how insane. I mean, look at this. BMW 760i. I mean, it's like, why these things are in the game, I have no idea. But the fact that they're here is just like mind-blowing to me. All these different Fords. You've got even more Fords right here. You got this first gen. You got the Cybertruck. You got a like freaking Nissan Patrol Ute conversion. All of these crazy vehicles. Like, you got the red and blue monster trucks from American Wilds. It's like just fun stuff. And fun stuff mixed in with serious stuff, mixed in with realistic stuff. And really, that is, again, what made this game so cool. We got freaking pontoon boats. Like, what? What is this game? I just cannot get over the level of insanity that mudrunner modding really is. I almost said was, but it's not really a was. It's not really a past tense thing, because while this game obviously doesn't have the player base that it had when, you know, it was the newest game in the series, it still has a group of dedicated people and dedicated players still behind it, still playing it, and still modding it to this day, because it is such a good game and it was such a special game in this series. But again, I'm going to stop rambling on about it, and that is where we are truly going to end this video. But once again, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.